Hey everyone, it's time for another week of Got Something for Ya. Today we are talking about episode 7 of Survivor 48, a very special episode because 2 people went home.
Well, it's funny, Matt. We call it a special episode because 2 people went home, which was the headline, some years ago. But I feel like at this point, this is like, par for the course of Survivor. New era. It's always mergatory, and then it's some sort of, a double elimination. So I do think it's funny because I think that they would like it to be some big headline where it's like, oh, tonight was a huge episode. 2 people went home. But instead, the headline is now, well, this is just what we do here, I guess. What do you think,
Was
Ollie?
it 45 when they did it this way? Was that when it started?
I feel like it might have started.
Well, when Split Tribal started, it started pre-40.
Yeah. Oh, well, it did start pre-40 in terms of, like, it ever happening. But in terms of it hitting at this exact spot, I feel like that might be a new era thing, but it doesn't feel crazy special anymore. That is what I do know.
Yeah, it's definitely new era. Like having it at this specific point, because originally it was kind of deep in. It was slightly more in the merge. Like jury had already started, whereas like this kind of side, I want to say 45.
Well, I mean, like Amy said, this one is. I wonder if 45 was the first time they did the one person goes home first and does not make the jury, and then one person goes home second and does make the jury. Noah, welcome to the chat. No more split tribes after merging, please. Noah is begging Jeff Probst. And Noah also says, it feels like every season in New Era. Noah, I'm glad you're here for today's discussion. I want you to let us know more about that as we continue on in today's episode. Jay, cancel the season. The star just left. I know. I'm really sad about it. I still think
Jay, I think you're confused. Se left. Star is still in the game.
Still there.
Silly goose. Thank you.
I still think that there are some really fun people in the game, but I'm really sad that Se is gone. And see, there you go. And 44 and 47 were a bit different because they had one group go while the other group watched. Yep. And all right. Awesome. So let's get into today's episode because obviously we have a lot to talk about. Obviously, we start with Mitch, who is like, what just happened, because he was left out of the vote and he's trying to rekindle some stuff.
Yeah, he's trying to figure out really what happened and if he can trust anyone. And I kind of don't blame Mitch for kind of feeling that way and not feeling like he could trust everyone. Because even in this moment, I felt like I don't necessarily remember Charity throwing out Kyle's name. Could not have just been in the edit. But because this is Kyle says my reasonings for voting for Charity was she threw my name out. Could not confirm or deny those rumors.
To be fair, this I think was the very, very, very. You might just not remember because it was literally so early on in the season. This was sort of the first strike on their tribe. Charity threw out Kyle's name, and that's when Camila came in to defend Kyle. That was actually the reason why Camila and Kyle ended up becoming so close. But I mean, look. It's easy to see why Mitch feels this way, right? I mean, he is technically the only person from his tribal that feels the most burned, that's sort of around to still be playing the game, which is ironic because Se is the one that split the votes with Charity, but I think that Se was fully expecting to get a bunch of votes, whereas Mitch just had no clue what was going to happen.
Yeah.
Anything else, Ollie?
Well, obviously it's kind of Mitch's, like I said, Mitch now definitely feels like the people that he thought he could trust, he can no longer. And he's kind of now got to do damage control with the person who you kind of can't do damage control at this point, which I feel really bad for him for.
You know what I loved figuring out? I loved hearing Se's strategy when it came to voting for Cedric. She used the long lost language of cursive to write his name so that no one could recognize it.
That is so funny. Have we seen this before? I'm not certain that we've seen it explicitly told to the audience like this.
Well, who was it that kept changing up their handwriting a few seasons ago?
Did this happen?
Yes. No, someone did. I can't remember their name, but I can't remember who. It may come to my mind at some point.
Well, while we think of that, hi Keisha, welcome to the chat. Thanks for joining.
Okay. Yeah, this was absolute petty levels of petty, which I loved. I mean, I think back and I'm like, I think at the end of last episode, like a lot of us were like, oh, why did she write like Cedric? Like, what was the reason? Like, there was no logic. She just wanted to be petty, and I loved it. And I kind of understand why she did it. Like, he'd written her name down however many times now, so it's like tit for tat, make him feel the pressure. And what was really interesting was he felt panicked. Like, you could see just this one vote got to him in some way. So Say accomplished what she wanted to do here, and I just loved it. I thought it was hilarious.
This is what we're going to be missing throughout the rest of the season, and I'm really sad about it. But you know what? It was kind of like it came. At least she got this one dig in, and also I'm glad that it didn't get her voted out last episode, because that was a very close vote. So it was a huge risk to just do that. But obviously, like she admitted, she expected to see her name a couple of times, but did not expect it to be as close as it was. So that was a big problem for her. Then we have this group of what's happening here.
This is where Cedric is just spiraling, being like, why? Why has someone written my name down? I don't understand it. And it was the whole tangent going into, well, it was beautiful handwriting, so it must have been a female. But I've seen Se's handwriting, so I know it can't be Se.
I do have a question about Cedric in particular, and maybe the answer is just the tribe splits, but I am curious as to like when exactly he started being seen as on the bottom.
Well, in what way did they say that he was on the bottom at this point? Because the only vote that he got was Se.
No, yeah. But for the sake of today's episode, when the tribe split happens and they go, it was everyone was like, oh, the easy vote, it's Cedric. It's Cedric. It's got to be Cedric. And I was like, when did that happen?
I see what you're saying.
I feel like it was just natural. I mean, obviously we haven't seen everything, so we're not sure. But I just feel like it kind of naturally happened.
I feel like I need to be reminded what the actual tribes are. I feel like I could sort of sniff something out if I saw the tribes. I just can't remember the tribes. Like asking right now, I'm like I don't even know who he was there with right now. So I wouldn't be able to answer that. But
Keisha's put in the chat because Cedric wasn't a part of the majority alliance, which is a quite easy answer.
That's true, right. And that's all it really could be. I mean, definitely, because as we saw in the team swap, the Muscle Alliance was pretty well split to the point where none of them. It's like you don't want to be that person in the majority alliance at this point to flip the script on the other group, because then you are going to be seen as a threat to the alliance. So, you know, I get it. And Frank made a joke. The 10-second bucket drop is the reason why he landed on the bottom. Oh, Cedric.
Yeah.
It's a hard challenge. I think we'll get to it. Okay, so NJ also said, I guess because he wasn't with Se and Chrissy, with whom he was loosely affiliated, and he had no allies at that point. Oh, that's rough.
Yeah.
And well, it's a beautiful day to wake up in Fiji. I like seeing everyone together. I like a big group. I miss big votes, so I was happy to see everyone. Well, they get split up again, but you know what I mean. So Mitch is doing his thing.
This is where obviously Mitch feels like he is on the bottom. He isn't sure who he can like trust or work with. So he's trying to gauge people more. And obviously we see in this scene this really nice moment with Mitch where he kind of discusses his real life and backstory and everything, which I think was a really nice moment. And I think it was a really good social play by him, because he obviously had previously been him and Shaheen talking, and then we have this interaction with Joe as well. Do we think this helped him?
I think anytime you offer up some vulnerability, some personal insight, it makes it a little harder for people just to see you as something disposable, right? Because you're opening up, you are making connections, even if they're loose right now. It's just setting a little bit of groundwork to cause people to have that emotional attachment. So I think it was the perfect thing to do, except Joe was like, I really like him, but he's not in the alliance. And I got my eye on him.
Which, for at this point it's a broken record, but it is weird that he's not in the alliance, and I feel like I feel like he is the tallest poppy not in the alliance, which is why they're going after him, which is so ironic because their whole thing is, well, we want to play with honor and integrity. We don't want to go after these strong people, outright. And then it'll be like, oh, well, Mitch is looking really strong and he's not in the alliance, so I feel like I feel like you got to get him out, which is like it's hilarious in a way. It's straight up comedic.
Yeah, but it's also this thing where, because Joe says at this point, obviously, like he talks about Mitch's story and how that could be a potential threat with a jury, but he also mentions Mitch's challenge performances and how strong he is as a competitor. Mm-hmm. And I sit there and I go, so you want an alliance with honor and integrity, which involves having the strong competitors, but yet you want to target Mitch for one of the reasons being he is a strong competitor. This is where I worry about this alliance because it could get muddy if they don't elaborate.
Yeah, I mean that clearly stuck out to me too. Like it's just so funny where there's alliance built on strength, and then it's like, oh, he's too strong, and it's and so I do think that it ultimately ends up just being like, I think that it's a more glorified way of packaging like people that just get along and like each other. Mm-hmm. I think on top of them just being the stronger people in the tribe, I think that they just like each other, and that's the real basis. And they're putting it out there under the guise of like this honor, integrity, and strength. Sort of. It's essentially just a veil. But at the end of the day, they just like each other and they're friends. And I think that Mitch can be absolutely smoking challenges, and I don't think that he has a shot of getting in this.
But also, it sounds like they're so many castaways in their confessionals or even to each other, have admitted that they are threatened of Mitch's story, the overall story that he's bringing to this season.
Yeah,
and I think that's it's interesting that almost gives me the impression that
But wouldn't you say it's the honorable choice to let someone with a beautiful, flourishing story make it to the end? It's so ironic that they want to get out the person that has this honorable, beautiful story. Wouldn't you say, Matthew?
Let that person make it to the end on Survivor. Yes,
anyone. It'd be the honorable thing to do.
Honor and integrity. That's what honor and integrity is about.
I see what you're doing.
You see what like?
Yeah.
I was like, Matthew, you have to get this.
It took me a second. I know it's so weird because when I hear that, I'm like, it makes me think that the players are like automatically thinking about like a certain edit or something. Like they're imagining how these episodes are going to play out or something, and it's weird. I don't know, but we've seen this come up before too. I'm trying to think who it was. Like, it's not the first time I've heard, but I've just heard it. This is the time that I've heard it. What?
Sorry, you saying the first time you've heard about honor and integrity?
No, story. Like mentioning someone's story. I've heard about honor and integrity.
I was about to say coach.
No, but like the story. I feel like that's come up a little bit in other seasons, but this episode, it was like every time they spoke about Mitch.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah.
But then we have Se and Shaheen. I'm a little fuzzy on this conversation, but
So go ahead, Ollie. You can give the breakdown.
I was going to say, obviously, this is where kind of Se is there going like, I know who wrote my name down, and she kind of wants to be a bit more sociable in the sense of she really wants to try and gauge how like more of the kind of social people are feeling. And she's kind of very straight up with Shaheen, and Shaheen's very receptive to it. Like Shaheen is there going, if I was on the same, if I was on the same starting tribe as Se, me and Se would be like this. So because that did happen, obviously we're seeing this disconnect between them. But we do kind of see as well, and I don't have the picture, it's of then Shaheen and David, Shaheen and Cedric. We kind of see all the people that are on the quote unquote bottom really going to Shaheen and having these kind of conversations with him. So it was kind of more so to kind of see where kind of Shaheen lays in terms of the tribe dynamics.
I think Shaheen did a really nice job with this conversation. I think he identified what is important in terms of Se's communication style and in terms of what she values in some sort of working relationship, or even just like a human relationship. And I think he understood that really well and could see that he could open up to her in that way and have it not backfire.
So, yeah, great. Absolutely.
Let's go to the immunity challenge, which was my favorite. I think the editors went above and beyond here with how they told this segment of the story. It was so good. But basically we also find out, okay, we're doing that thing. We're splitting the tribes into two, and the one tribe is going to go first, and that person's not going to make jury. The second tribe is going to go second, and good news, you're still voted out, but you make the jury.
Yeah. Phil, is this where you want to know where the tribes fall?
Yes, a bit. I can see it here. I just want to call out, I feel like, yes, this is like the best version of this challenge. And I do think that in terms of the split, they were so lucky that Joe and David were on two different tribes. I feel like that made it very exciting. Because, it's sort of like Goliath versus Goliath. Two records broken. Right there. One being quickest out, but the other being the longest hold. So, this was, as far as this challenge goes, it was exciting. But I mean, the breaking them up into two tribes is not my favorite thing in the whole entire world. But if I'm being honest, I really liked how they did it in, and I hope that I'm not wrong about this, but I know that they did it in Ghost Island. And that was exciting because that felt like one of the first times that it happened. And it was like, whoa, this is crazy. And this one here, because I literally remember, I believe it or not, I used to love the surprise split of the tribes, but I just hate how it's always at the same spot, one, and then at the same spot, in my opinion, this is the worst spot to have this.
Yes.
Because this whole one makes the jury, one doesn't make the jury feels so like straight up unfair to me. Like it just feels like, and look, life's not fair. Survivor's not fair. But I feel like it just feels bad. I feel like they should be in the business of putting things on television that feel good to watch, where you want to see the victory, you want to see someone crumble sometimes. But in this, I feel like you feel so awful seeing someone who lost at the same exact point as another person not be able to go to not be able to be on the jury. Frankly, Se did better than Cedric in this challenge.
Oh god, yeah. You go, Matthew.
I completely agree with you. I think it's okay to do this type of thing once, but I agree, Phil. It's like we've seen some pretty devastating things on Survivor, right? Like from a fan perspective, but it's fun devastating in a way where it's like, oh, it's like a soap opera. Like, I don't know, something happens that you don't want to happen, but it's so entertaining. And I don't think that this twist has that same energy, especially because you're right. It's upsetting that someone here is eliminated the exact same episode as someone else, and yet they are at a different point. I just don't think it's a good spot to do this because I'm like, has there ever been, someone let me know in the chat, has there ever been a successful blindside pulled off at one of these?
I do think that there has been, if I can be honest. I would never be able to do it, but I would be surprised if there has never been a blindside. But it definitely, I mean, it closes things out for people.
Where did the muscle alliances land? That's my big question. Because I know on Orange, it is Joe is there.
Eva's there.
Eva's there.
And you could kind of say Star, because Star's kind of with them.
No,
and then,
I don't think she's. I don't think she's all the way in the.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
okay.
so
I would say Jay. That's right.
I would say Joe and Eva. Yeah, so I would say Joe and Eva. On the other side, we have Shaheen, we have Kyle, we have David.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You know, it's like when a big alliance forms, no one, and they split, no one from that big alliance is going to want to switch things up, because when they come back together, they're going to be seen as the person who broke up the alliance. And that's a terrible position to be in, especially if you can't get other people on your side to form a different majority. Amy wonders how the personalized weights of the buckets were there at the start before they drew rocks for teams. That's a really great question, Amy. They must have been there for show and then moved as needed.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, that's what I would imagine. That is a really good observation, though. I'm not gonna lie.
Maybe they each they had bags of sand correlating to each person, and then they just pulled it in.
Yeah, just like the bag or something.
Yeah.
All right, and then we. Oh.
Such a ham. I love it. I genuinely love this stuff. Like I love when people ham it up for these challenges. Like, you know, Hunter, perfect example. You know, Ali, I'd love to hear your thoughts, but
I have no thoughts.
Surely you
do. No, Matthew has more thoughts than me.
I do have lots of thoughts.
Let's hear it, Matthew.
No, it's a family show. So I think that obviously milk is great, right? Milk is wonderful. So I think that, hold on, let's just take this photo in 3, 2, 1. Okay. So then, this is where my editors, you did great this episode. My editors here, I'm proud of you. And Shaheen, I am so proud of you for knowing exactly what the music was going to be.
Oh, yeah, wow. Come on. I loved it. I was cackling from them. Like every time they went to the jury bench. I don't have a photo, but it's even like when Chrissy was like to Eva, do it for Michigan, and she was like Minnesota, and I was like, oh, bless you. Like there was just so many funny moments from the bench. I was just like, hilarious. I loved it.
By the way, Shaheen, that's the type of Survivor player that I would be. I would just be like doing the music, like that's peak tag yourself. That is me.
Yeah.
Wait, Phil, you've watched Australia, right?
I have watched
this season.
Bits, pieces, and crumbs.
Okay, because you know, Ollie, myself, and then an Australian Survivor player who was on last season, Valeria. We do our weekly recaps every Thursdays, and there's a player named Miles this season who will do something similar, except he impersonates what the host JLP will say. He narrates the challenge for the host, and I feel like it's kind of one of these moments here as well. Every time the music would play and it would cut to the challenge, cut back to Shaheen, cut to the challenge, cut back to Shaheen. It was so good. It was so good. Okay, loved it. Thank you for this, editors. Really appreciated it.
This is the Emmy they were going for. This is their Emmy.
Oh, please. The Emmy is that 2 episodes ago. That's the Emmy. That's the Emmy selection for their consideration.
For your consideration. It's so funny. Sometimes I can, for like Jeff's consideration, when it's like best host, I sometimes can like identify which episodes I think they would submit.
Yeah.
Oh, Keisha loves Miles. I know. We Keisha, I hope, are you rooting for Miles? Let's see how this all turns out. Next Thursday, we're going to talk about the finale. So, we end up we got 2 winners.
Jesus, they're both so strong.
They're so strong.
Look at them.
All right, let's move past the slide.
I do wish I had that defined pecs. I can never get my pecs that defined. Just so David knows, I'm not jealous. I'm just intrigued for my own self.
Sorry, I just got lost in 3, 2.
We need to leave this. Yes.
There you go. Okay, it was too mesmerizing. All right, so we're back at camp. One of the camps. Which who was this? Was this Orange? This is Orange. Okay, so as a reminder, for some reason my notes did not sync onto my computer like they normally do. So just a reminder that Joe won first. David won second. Or
David won, meaning that this tribe goes to tribal council first.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Yep. Great. See, it all seemed very predictable to me what was going to happen.
It did seem pretty cut and dry. I will say it did seem pretty cut and dry. I mean, on this tribe, think about it, right? You have Se. Who else were we thinking might have gone home? Mitch is, I think, what they tried to pitch us.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. There was not a second in my mind that I thought that Mitch was actually going to go. I do genuinely believe that this was the episode for me that felt the most straightforward.
Yeah.
I think that people thought something about, I've heard some scuttle about other episodes, but I feel like this is the episode that, like, going into Tribal, I really was like, okay. I feel like this is sadly where Se goes, but I was really, really hoping that they were going to pull something off or pull something out or I kind of knew. I mean, for Joe and Eva to be on the same tribe too, I mean, come on. Like,
I don't know why.
The second I saw that, I was like, this is cooked.
And I agree with Keisha here. I don't know why they didn't take the opportunity to split those two up. I mean, obviously, I'm sure there's some personal relationships there, right? Like everyone, is bonded in some capacity. But
you have to remember the swap tribe. Se was on with Chrissy and Mitch. So in a weird way, you would think that she has like some semblance of a relationship with those two, where she would be able to step up and say, "Hey guys, look, Eva has an idol. We need to do this." That said, obviously, Mitch had his block vote, which would have helped it, even further. Like there were a lot of ways this could have gone, but
I also think it was because of Se, and I'm not saying this is like a bad thing on Se, but it's like obviously we've kind of noticed with Se, you write her name down once, shame on you. You write her name down twice, like dead set. So I also feel like Se contributed to it a bit by kind of being like, well, I have nothing, like Mitch has written my name down twice, and I do want to say I understand where she's coming from, because if someone had written my name down twice, I'd be sat there like, I cannot trust this person. So I think that's also why it never really seemed to go anywhere towards kind of Eva and Joe, because you had Se, who was very much dead set on wanting to go for Mitch and talking about his story and how that was a threat. And then you also had Mitch that was like, I want to go for Se. And it seems like even the people kind of in the middle who did actually have a conversation about wanting to get rid of the threats, they still didn't want their threat was Mitch. So I feel like that's where that's why it never materialized.
Did Chrissy also want Se out? Like,
yes,
completely? Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, you look at the split tribe, you saw them get into a like straight up argument with one another. So I would say yes.
I thought there was a like 0.02% chance that the vote might flip on Chrissy.
On Chrissy?
Well, we will get to that, because there was a part, and I took a photo because I was worried for her. But in this moment, she kind of did weigh up the pros and cons. I'm not going to say she wavered. She weighed up the pros and cons for getting rid of someone like Mitch. So I think that's where we kind of saw the editing being like, oh, it could be Se, it could be Mitch. But when you look at Joe's confessional, when you look at Eva's confessional, even when you look at Chrissy's confessional, they are all kind of pointing to Se. Like, if you actually like listen to the confessional, it's like it's clear they want to go for Se, but they want to make it mysterious.
I'm so sad. Oh, can I say, while we're on this slide, while we see Star here, Star had my favorite quote, and you two have made fun of me for saying this in the past. Star was here saying she doesn't want to make jury, she wants to make it to the end. The jury is for everyone else.
We've made fun of you for that?
Yes.
I don't remember that.
Oh my
I don't remember this. Matthew, you're making these really bad allegations that we've been mean to you, and we've never been mean to you.
Matthew, I think this is all a result of you forgetting your notes. Why don't you get back to the notes?
Yeah, don't worry, I've muted him. It's fine. So,
wait.
Let's just move on. Let's just go ahead and move forward.
Do you guys like that mindset that Star had?
Yes.
I love that.
Yeah.
I think it's a good mindset.
I will go back into our archive
in the archive.
Okay,
I'll still stand by myself. Don't worry.
All right. And Mitch talks about the block a vote. So let's talk about this, because Mitch basically says he's going to do the block a vote on Se. I know I saw in the chat, Jay, I think it was you talking about why not block Joe, I think. Sorry, let me find it again. Oh, Keisha. Thank you, Keisha. So I'm not, for what he used it and it worked, right? He used it, Se went home, it worked for what he wanted it to do. I do think that it could have been maybe held off and maybe better. I think that he played it strictly so that she couldn't use shot in the dark.
Yeah. That's exactly why she used it, which is fair. Like, I understand that perspective, but then I also kind of agree with you, Matthew. Like, it did seem a bit like he could have used it later on more effectively. But again, I'm saying this from the comfort of the couch, so I fully don't know Mitch's reasoning, but yeah.
Ollie for Survivor 50.
I was cut from Survivor 50, unfortunately.
I'm still in the casting process.
It made its rounds on Twitter. It was a whole thing. Anyway, so let us move on to reward. What were they eating? What was it?
Peanut butter and jelly.
I love that reward. Oh my god. One, I love PB&J sandwiches, but two, I feel like the peanut butter is a great source of protein.
Yes.
And then I feel like the jelly is like a nice sweet sort of dessert, sort of treat for you. I'm into this.
What I really loved about this reward as well, though, is, and it's mainly from David and Shaheen, I don't know if anyone else did it, but they were eating it like a scone. Like, where, like, for people that don't know the UK, like, a scone is where you put, like, I want to say cream or something, and then, like, strawberry jam or something. I don't eat it. I'm bad for it.
Yeah,
but it was giving me that vibe. They were proper having, like, afternoon tea, like, doing it like that. I wish I'd got, like, a close-up shot of Shaheen or David with it. It was so bougie.
They're being fancy.
An open face. Yeah. Open face PB&J.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm not a big PB&J fan, but in this context, I feel like it's the perfect thing to win on Survivor. Like, remember we saw Tyson get PB&J?
Yeah.
We do. I you were on a roll, Ollie, so I didn't want to say, but yeah, thank you,
funny.
Keisha.
That's funny. Get him, Keisha.
Depends where.
Oh my god, Ollie. So then
cancelled.
Ollie wants to go to IHOP. I just want to if Ollie comes to
what's wrong now?
We will be live streaming. We will be. By the way, I hope everyone's excited. The three of us are going to be getting together in person for the first time. I guess me and Matthew have gone together before, but but for the first time, we are going to be seeing each other, the three of us, in the flesh very, very soon. So I hope you guys are staying tuned for that. It's very, very exciting.
Yes.
And we are going to take Ollie to IHOP, and if we do, we will be live streaming it. So get ready.
I'll be having a lovely time. I love my IHOP. I love my International House of Pancakes. Sponsor me.
I don't think there's scones there, though. So
no, I don't care. I don't like scones.
Okay, whatever. So anyway, thank you, Phil, for that plug. Yeah, I'm very excited for that. All right, Keisha, see you there. So I think the thing is, Did anything else happen here other than just reward?
I think we can press through.
Yay!
Get to some strategy.
PB&J. Strategy. Hi, David. Hi, Shaheen. Hi, Mary.
First of all, Mary's in it. Mary feels in it. Mary, she said it herself in a confessional. She doesn't got a swatch of green on her. She doesn't. It's hard to even remember that she's from that tribe.
Right.
Do you remember I had that post? I can't remember if it was last week or the week before, and it was Mitch's post about the kind of physical 6. Like, they were saying it was a 6 and we'd only seen 5. I think Mary's the 6th. Watching this episode, I think Mary is the 6th.
That's a good observation.
Because if you watched back last episode and you saw how everyone was kind of like talking and stuff, Mary was in the know the entire time, and everything that the 5 seemed to know, Mary knew. So I think Mary's in the 6, and I'm so here for it.
I like that theory.
Same.
I like it too. I will say, and like, not to bring this up in the middle of an episode that really doesn't have much to do with her, but I don't think Mary can win. I'm starting to not think Mary can win, and it's sad. But to your point, Ali, she's in these conversations, and we don't ever hear her perspective, like almost ever. And it feels like when we do hear from her, it's like a more funny, jokey throwaway line that's supposed to be silly and goofy. I don't think that we're supposed to take her that seriously. And I don't know. It just feels like for a winner, you're right. She has been sort of floating around, and I would love to be following her journey right now. She's from like the most losing tribe, and she seems like she is the one that is integrated the most into the actual majority, but we're not hearing anything about it. So I personally have actually taken her out of my head. Go ahead, Matthew.
I wonder, with Se and Cedric now gone, I'm curious to see if her edit will, because that was a big storyline for her for the first few weeks, was her, especially her relationship with Se. So I wonder what's going to happen with her edit. And I get what you're saying, Phil. It's like, from a winner's edit perspective, I mean, Jay, I feel like if Mary was the winner, which I think she would be a great winner based on what the little bit that we're seeing. But this scene, I feel like, would have made it into an episode.
Yes. Mm-hmm. I think the same exact thing. Whenever I say that, I'm like, oh, personal content, content that has to do with, them making bonds, following their journey. Like, we're not seeing that with Mary for some reason. Yeah. She seems like a background character. And it's wild because she seems like they're treating her like, go ahead.
No, I was going to say at the moment, because maybe it is the fact that she has decided to go under the radar. I mean, she's currently wearing Charity's top. She was wearing the clothes of her
I was wondering whose top that was.
That's pretty.
That was Charity's. Charity clocked it as well on social media, just FYI. But
a little.
Yeah, I do feel like she has kind of gone under the radar, because obviously we've seen in the past that the tribe that comes in with the least amount of members seem to then become in this kind of swing middle position. And again, we don't know everything. This is just hypothetical possibility. Mary's maybe seen that and been like, right, I don't want to work with Cedric and Se because they won't take me to the end, and they've shown I can't trust them. So she's gone under the radar, built these relationships, obviously, with like David and Shaheen and Camila and whatnot. But she may just be laying low for now because she doesn't want to create any waves. And I feel like that's maybe where it is. We've seen it before with winners, where they kind of go a bit under the radar at the start of merge and then come up. So maybe that's what we're seeing with Mary.
Yeah.
Well, I will say, in any fashion, I love what Jay just said there. I fully agree with that. In any fashion, like, no matter what they're doing with her edit, I think that you're right. The story of Mary, Cedric, and Se feels incomplete because they were separated when both of them went home. It really does.
Which is why they are all on 50.
Right. What do we have next? Is the next slide the other tribe?
No, it's this. I do think it is important to remind everyone that they do tell Shaheen that Cedric's vote is probably going on him here. So this is where Kyle and Camila are like, maybe we could change this up. Maybe we could change this up a little bit. And they plan to lie to David about Shaheen. Or, extend the truth. Like, I feel like they could have just used the story about Shaheen looking through Kyle's bag. But they're trying to get David to flip. I did not think he would, but they tried.
No.
Well, sort of what I'd like to hear from y'all. Why do you think that they showed us this? Was this them showing us another option so that we did not know point blank period? Cedric is going out, or do you think that they showed us this to like is this, first of all, is this like an early look at how Shaheen's going to go home? Is it going to be these two masterminding from the background? And two, is this sort of supposed to be Camila and Kyle's first like sort of public failure in terms of their plans having going out perfectly every single time? And this was the first time they threw something out and it did not happen. I don't know if I'm thinking a little bit a step too deep. Is it just what we're seeing?
I think it was definitely Kyle and Camila trying to put the target onto Shaheen. And I think maybe it was a sense of, well, we either get Shaheen to become the vote, or we at least have David looking at Shaheen
and kind of having the future.
Yeah, kind of at least it's kind of like, right, we've got David kind of looking at Shaheen a little bit here, so kind of the eyes go off them. I also think it's the building blocks for what could happen next episode, because I feel like we saw a lot of scrambling in the promo, and I feel like this could play a part in it. I feel like we don't sleep on this scene.
So really quick, I don't think we should sleep on this either. That's the thing. I think that they showed us for a reason. But to Jay's point, that is what I'm asking. Are we supposed to take this and go, this is the first step into Camila and Kyle's big failure? Where, is this why they showed us this? Because they did not pull it off, and this is now lingering in the air. Sure, David could sort of slide with this plan, and it could be a Shaheen vote off in the future, or David could bring this back to Shaheen, and this could really, really burn this secret duo.
You know what's funny? To me, Phil, to answer your question, I think it was both. I do think it was both.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, when it comes to the lie that they actually told, here when we got to tribal council and Cedric was voted out, I didn't see the edit as being like, oh, look at Kyle and Camila, their plan backfired. I saw it as like, we chose we chose to go back to the other one. Like I saw it as just like, well, that's what happens. But Jay makes a good point. I think the lie that they told, and I just remembered to look it up, that it's okay. She says that she thinks that Shaheen may have an idol. That's not the worst thing, but I think not pointing to something specific, like he was looking through Kyle's bag, or Kyle not being the one to go to David and be like, yeah, it looked like he was going through my bag. Like that was, I feel like as long as they have something that they could point to, they wouldn't be able, no one will be able to argue back to them.
Yeah, I agree. But I do think, just regardless, I think I kind of agree with you with what you said previously, Matthew, that I didn't think it was going to work anyway, because I didn't think David was going to go for it. Like, I felt like David had his plan. David was setting what he wanted to do. And I think he kind of said it like best. He was like, I have the immunity necklace, so I am kind of the one running the thing, like running the show at this point. Sometimes you are, sometimes you're not. Not him, I'm just saying in general. But yeah, I think that's why it kind of fell. Like, that's why Camila and Kyle's plan fell through. And I do think that David's now got a bit more power from it.
Well, speaking of going through bags and stuff like that, Phil and Ollie, I am about to go through all of your stuff. So while I do that, why don't we take a very quick break?
What's up, guys? I'm Todd Herzog, the winner of Survivor China, and I am here with Survivor Now Podcast, the best source for Survivor information, to show off what I do for a living. So I make custom Funko Pops. If you haven't seen or heard, you can check it out on Instagram at Todd's Pop Shop, or you can message me, toddspopshop@gmail.com, to order your own. And if you mention this podcast, you will get $10 off and a free torch. So it's pretty freaking awesome. I'm going to show you a few right now. We've got Troyzan here, Phil from The Amazing Race, JLP, host of Australian Survivor, and look, little Charlie. Anybody you could possibly imagine or want yourself playing an LRG or an ORG, or just with your loved one or family or pets or anything like that, shoot me a message. I'm happy to make it. You also have the chance to win a free custom pop if you sign up for Survivor Now Podcast Fantasy League. So it's pretty awesome. And it's fun. Like, who doesn't want to be a part of that? So yeah, hit me up, get your custom pops. It's great holiday gifts, great birthday gifts. We got a new season of Survivor right around the corner. I'm excited. I'm sure you're excited. Let's get this going.
I love the way that he says, little Charlie.
Little Charlie.
Little
So what did you find in our bags?
Oh, well, I went through your bags and I found chapstick and some Kleenex, and it was fine.
That'd be Phil.
I took it because I love that stuff, so all good.
Phil, he took your stuff. Vote him out.
I guess we got to vote him off.
That's fine.
No, not unless I use my block a vote, just like Mitch did here, and I choose to block Ollie's vote.
Oh,
what a shocker!
I should have.
You love bringing that up.
I know, but now I should have wrote this backwards so that
why?
So that people could see it as it was meant to be seen. Ollie,
it looks good to me.
Yeah, I saw it as my full name, not backwards.
Oh, it wasn't backwards?
No, it's not backwards.
Is it backwards now?
No.
Is it backwards now?
No.
Oh.
Okay, no more testing on the podcast about this Bible. Lord Jesus.
Okay. All right. So, sorry, everyone. Okay, so when it comes to this tribal council, again, not a surprise. Wait, we got to talk about Chrissy.
We have the photo.
What happened?
Chrissy just talked and then realized, oh, I fluffed up.
I was like, Chrissy. I think it was when she threw out Joe's name in particular that I was like, Chrissy. Woo.
Because you saw Joe's reaction.
Yeah. I don't think this was a great tribal council for Chrissy. I do think more information came out than should have.
Yeah.
I wonder how this will affect her relationship with Joe moving forward.
I think she's put herself in a pickle here.
Because she said Joe and David's name, and both of them are very tied together. So,
and I also think with David, if you say his name, that's it. Like I think where we see with Se, it takes voting for her twice to dust off. I think if you just say David's name, done. So yeah, I am very worried for Chrissy. I do think like she's gonna have a target next episode because she has kind of said the quiet part out loud in the sense of like people want to get rid of the physical threats. Like Star said it, like we can sit there at this moment and we know that she's not the only one thinking this because Star said it in her confessional. But what Star made sure not to do was agree or mention it. Whereas Chrissy was like, yeah, we want to get the physical threats out. And it was like, no. And she tried to pull it back by going, not tonight.
Which is even worse. I think Amy makes an interesting point. I wonder if all of us would have done the same. And Roy, I see your comment. We'll save that for when we see the other tribal council. But Amy says, if I was Se, I would have started taking people aside to talk them into voting Chrissy right then and there.
Yeah.
I think that would have been a nice last-ditch effort in terms of what was happening.
I could have seen it happen. We've seen it happen before. I really could have seen that happen. That's why I was really worried. I was like, oh. Like, I generally think there could have been a chance for her to go home.
if people started whispering, I would have thought that there was even more of a chance for her to go home.
If people started whispering, that would sort of imply that things are active and moving. I feel like that's the way that I could see it happening too.
Yeah. But it all goes to their plan, and instead we say goodbye to Se.
No!
I'm sad.
Se, you carried this season on your back, my friend. I hope that we see you back, my friend, and I hope that you enjoyed the journey, because it is not always about the destination, and you were one half step from getting on the jury. Not even a full step. You were one half step from getting on the jury, frankly.
I will say she has said in exit press that she was happy to not be on the jury because she would have been, quote unquote, a better juror. I don't actually think she would have. I think she was just saying it. But I would have loved to have seen Se on jury. I think Se did deserve to be on jury. I loved her. I thought she was great. She brought the entertainment. And for someone on Twitter who said that her performance was, quote unquote, dog doo-doo, I think you should look back at your own performances before you talk about Se's.
Oh, and last thing. Do we think that Se is going to be on 50?
I'd love to see Se on 50.
I think that is the biggest conversation here. Like we were saying, you sort of knew what was going to happen with the votes. Do we think Se, let's just call it right here, is Se on 50, yes or no? Matthew?
Yeah.
Ali?
Yeah, I'd love to see Se on 50. I'd just love to see Se return. I think Se is a lot to return.
Do you think that she is on it?
Yeah. I'm going to confidently say yeah.
I do too. And on that, and Jay does too.
I want to... Thanks, Jay. I want to say Se has been incredible. Phil, you mentioned carrying the season on her back. I've loved every episode. I feel, like we talked about before, I feel a bit robbed of the storyline between her and Mary, especially. And I'm sad that it ended this way. I feel a little let down, but also I just think that Se played the game in a very fun way, in an extremely fun way. So I was really, really happy that Se, I'm really happy you were on the season. I'm so sorry that your journey ended here. All right.
We love you.
Yes. So let's move on to Tribal Council number 2. Now, where are you, Roy? I saw you said something about Camila. You think Camila is going to go home for trying to, and yes, don't worry, we autocorrect. I got it. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I going into this one, I thought if out of both of these tribal councils, this one felt like. No, it didn't. I was going to say this one felt the most obvious. Yeah.
This one, they were trying to do a bit more misting to be like, oh, we don't know what's going to... Like, it could go either way, but I think it was still very obvious for me. Sorry.
Yeah, I think this was pretty cut and dry. I really, really do. Like, and you know me. I am easily fooled. However, this, I really just had a feeling. I mean, look at just to Cedric's left and right. It did not feel for a second like any of these people were going to go home. I mean, they didn't even sort of like, dangle Mary in front of our faces or anything. Like, it really, this tribe, maybe even more than the last, like, it really was pretty clear that it was going to be Cedric.
Yeah.
The Shaheen thing was more believable I mean, the fact that they even brought that up in the promo. Any real fan of Survivor, like, it was going to be Cedric. It was not going to be Shaheen.
Yeah.
I wonder if it was going to be if they thought it might have been a closer thing. I wonder if they would have seated, I'm not sure how they choose seats, but Kyle and Shaheen, I wonder if they would have switched their seats.
Yeah, they could have. But yeah, I have not much else to say. Actually, I do want to point out.
There's really nothing else that happens, and that's all you remember.
No, but I will point out, Phil, you mentioned how they never dangled Mary's name out to Cedric.
I mean, I'm more saying they didn't dangle Mary's name out to us as the audience.
Yeah. Shows how good of a position Mary's in. Slay Queen.
Yeah, look. The story, they truly didn't have enough to make the story. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I think it was very cut and dry on these tribes.
Yeah.
And I feel like Cedric is such a demure individual that I don't think that they even thought that he was like scrambling in a crazy amount. Cedric. Wow. You made a way bigger impact on this season than I think that like people will ever even really remember after the fact, because I think personality wise, he is like a lot more just like relaxed and collected. But he was the absolute kingmaker behind like several votes. So kudos, you made a difference on the season, man.
Yeah.
I really wonder what would have happened if he saved Justin over. I feel like that was a huge pivotal moment in the game, and we could say, based on tribe swaps and we could say that he would just end up in the same spot, right? Like that's always a possibility. It could have been Justin in Se's place on the other tribe, but this was tough. That's where I asked the question at the beginning, where I was like, when exactly did he find himself here? But I think as we discussed, it was just the left out of the alliance.
Yeah. And yeah, it's obviously a shame. Like, I think we saw some really like heartwarming moments from Cedric this season, which I really do appreciate. So I think he can have his head held high to know that he, like Phil said, made an impact strategically. And we were able to see him not just as a player, as a person. And Jay, I do disagree with you respectfully.
Is Mary the only green tribe left?
Wow. Yes.
Yeah. And don't worry, we'll be talking about that soon.
Wow. Okay. All right. Well, speaking of, why don't we just get to it right now? We have our Ollie's segment of the show. The tribe has posted.
I love how we've just called this my part of the book.
It is.
You
it's a segment.
True. For those of you that don't know or a first-time viewer, this is the tribe has posted, where I have scoured through everyone's social medias to see what is going on. And I will admit, this week the tea was hot. The tea was piping. There was some shade. But we will get first to kind of a couple of tweets and instas from the challenge, because we had a lot of people comment on the challenge. So we've got obviously Stars one here. We've got Shaheen's that I posted purely for his caption. Do I hold on for one more day?
You have a beautiful voice.
Thank you. And obviously, David, I can do this all day, which I feel like we need to have a count on how many times he said that during that challenge, because he said that like I swear he got to double digits saying it.
I just think of the Captain America musical, the song from the TV show.
Well, it was Captain America versus the Rock. So
by the way, I love that just like imagery. I also think it's so funny that Captain America is like a literal superhero and The Rock is just like a human.
Just The Rock.
Yeah, no one talks about that. Anyways,
yeah,
we can proceed.
Fine. So the next set of it's a couple of tweets we Shaheen, oh waka sama waka, loved it. And then Mitch as well. I liked it. Going home on Siva Beach. Y'all must have forgotten who you're dealing with, which I thought was quite cute and just sassy. So I loved it from Mitch. Mitch does have some really funny tweets that he pops out on every now and again. So keep an eye on his X because it is quite funny.
Sassy. I love it.
Then next up we have, this is all to do with the tribe name, which we have not talked about. Nune, or however you say it. The tribe name is cow's milk in Mandarin. It is cow's milk in Mandarin. I have had this confirmed from the cow's mouth himself. Their tribe name is, I can't pronounce it, but no, now and Nunai, and it means cow's milk.
I just didn't honestly like this tweet from Mary was the most interesting to me. I didn't realize that they have to sort of run names by production, which I guess makes sense.
Yeah.
Because otherwise they'd be out there, someone could be out there and throw out some lewd name, in Fijian. Yeah. So it makes sense. But it's really interesting to learn that the tribe name was like the 6th pitch to the producers. I wonder if it's usually that difficult to get them to say yes to something, or if this was sort of a one-off sort of thing.
Which makes me think, if this was number 6 that they delivered to the producers, that makes me think that David didn't come in here thinking this was going to be merged tribe name. So I wonder if production looked up cow's milk for
no. So you have so this actually relates to one of the secret scenes this week, because it is Mary and David, and I want to say maybe there's a few of them at the well, and they ask Mary. It's David, funny enough, of course, who asks Mary, "How would you say milk in Chinese?" Nunai. So yeah,
very interesting. More you know.
Next up is a bit of Luigi's. If you know, you know.
Yeah.
I found it really funny that Mary, the caption was "Take me to God's country," and it was "If you know, you know." And then it's Operation Italy, Luigi's version. How do we feel? Does this compare to the original Operation Italy?
This is so awesome. I just think this is awesome that Justin has fully pumped his business from just being on Survivor. I was following some of the live coverage that was being put on by Rob Sesternino, and it was it was packed in there, and it was a blast on Wednesday. It was nuts because he had his live show in Boston that Wednesday, and so this was just really, really cool for me to see, and it shows that the Survivor community does not end on the island. A lot of these people really do extend out into the real world, and I think this is this was cool. This is cool. Traction for business.
What is Rob holding?
Machete? Some sort of machete thing. Nice. Yeah, machete. I think.
Also, should be said. Matthew and I went to college in Boston, so we could have taken a little train here. And rub down on pizza. The tea, yeah.
Well, we'll plan a trip. We shall plan a trip, Phil. Ollie, you're invited too.
I don't like pizza though.
Okay, but do you like Boston?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Not confident.
Yeah, I have no issues with Boston. Yeah, go for it. I like Boston. So
go for it. We're talking about you getting here.
Go for it. Different. The next couple of slides are where we get a little spicy.
Show me.
The pre-jury had some thoughts on Se and Cedric going. This is Justin. Obviously, someone had tweeted before, "All tongues that rise against Se shall fall," and Justin. And guess who sat next to all those tongues on the early flight home?
That must have been
that's not all. That's not all. Because you've got Bianca, Cedric, "I'm so sorry, don't let the door hit you on the way out." And Stephanie, good old Stephanie, our first boot, "When everyone who voted you out episode 1 is gone by episode 7. They I tell you now, the pre-jury seem to be a bit jovial this episode.
Yeah, this is pretty funny. I mean, that's. I'll tell you this: if I was out on the island and someone voted me off, I would probably have similar wishes for them. I'd be like, I hope they get voted off. They got rid of me. Come on. And so, yeah, I bet that's what they're all feeling right now. They're all living vicariously through, the pain of the people that voted them off getting voted off. Matthew, you look like you're going to say something very
I almost have the opposite feeling. I'm like, if someone votes me out, they better make it far, because otherwise I was just voted out for nothing. You know, like I don't want to be sitting next to that person on the flight home being like, look what you did.
You know, I think it all comes down to like how far along in the game that you are. You know, I do think to Stephanie's point, like being voted off first, like I don't want to see that person win. Like at that point, like I want you on the plane next to me so I can go, ha ha, you know. But if it was like, I don't know, maybe around the merge, I could see that where it's like, okay, you better go win. You know, you know, make this worth it. But
here's the thing, because they're throwing shade to the person who is going to throw the shade right back.
Very true.
When you don't think about the first boot, but the first boot thinks about you. And guess who was invisible in the edit? Not me.
Why does the second one feel so harsh? Literally just being like, yeah, got no edit, buddy. Like, whoa.
If anyone has been keeping up with socials like I have, you will know that Se does not play. Se will clap back whenever. She don't care, and that's why I love her for it. Se, if you're watching, please clap back every time. I will say there was other beef, but it was involving previous players and Shaheen. So I do want to give Shaheen his props for defending his cast, specifically Se. So I will say that this cast, it's regardless of what we think's going on with the edit, this cast, they do love each other. And because I have seen Se defend her castmates, so this is shade. This is playful shade. But now we have Se again, but it's obviously her thanking everyone, and kind of pointing out her records, because lest we forget, obviously she does hold the record now for most confessionals from a pre-juror, and also she is one of only 2 people to have received votes at every single tribal council she attended. She got votes at every single tribal. But yeah, she's just sending everyone love. She has appreciated all of the fan support, and same with Cedric. Cedric wrote some lovely messages here. You can pause to read it all. I'm not going to say it all, but
TLDR.
Yeah. Either way, Cedric is appreciative of everyone, and I think we should all be appreciative of them as well. Polls. So for those that don't know, we post polls on our X account at Survivor Now Pod. So please be sure to check them out. They are normally on there from Thursday till about noon, 1 p.m. Eastern today. And you can have your say and we review them here. So the first poll we have: how do you feel about the one person not making the jury during the split tribal rounds?
That's so funny. You knew this was coming when I was. Anyways, hate it. It's so unfair, Ollie. Matthew?
I'm going to go with hate it. It doesn't make me feel good.
Yeah. I mean...
that was very sweet.
53% hate it. It's so unfair. 32% were indifferent, which I kind of was like, odd. I can understand like 16% saying like love it. But yeah, like I was more shocked by the 32. But yeah, Phil, as soon as you were talking about it earlier, I was like, just you wait. Everything that's been spoken about is a poll, funny enough.
I love it.
Sorry, you go, Phil.
I'm sorry, I was just complimenting you. I said it means you're making great topics. Great job, Ellie.
So the next poll is: who were you rooting for during the immunity challenge? David, Joe, Jeff Probst, the pre-jury.
This is an interesting poll, I'm going to be honest.
Wait, I don't understand the pre-jury.
I just wanted to put a stupid one in there. I just wanted to put a left field one. I was going to put the bench, but I was like, nah. They had their moment.
Matthew, you go first for this one.
Oh. Yeah, I'll agree with Jay. I wanted to see Se win. I wanted to see 2 people win. What?
So the pre-jury.
Oh, there you go. I wanted to see 2 people win. Maybe it's Cedric and Se that where it would have been more up in the air at Tribal Council.
Yeah, I'm gonna go I feel like it's weirdly, I made fun of it. I feel like I might go pre-jury because I also wanted Se or Cedric to win. But realistically, I think that people picked Joe. I think people love Joe.
You think people picked Joe?
Mm-hmm.
Oh God.
Yeah. 56% picked Joe. 22% picked Jeff Probst. And poor David on 11% tied with the pre-jury. I'm so sorry, David. I actually thought David was going to get more votes, and I knew
it was going to be Joe.
Yeah,
sadly. Love you, David.
And the final poll, as I mentioned, did you think Mary would be the last OG Vula standing?
At a certain point I didn't, but at a certain point I did. I feel like if this comes down to from when we started the merge, I do believe that I would have guessed yes, that she was going to be the longest one standing. What about you, Matthew?
Maybe after she successfully played Shot in the Dark, I think that changed things drastically. But here's the thing. I honestly really didn't expect, especially Se, to be out. So I really thought that they were gonna go far together. But but in that instance, I do think that Se would have ended up being blindsided before, if that were the case. So yeah, no doubt in my mind.
Well, Jay also thinks no, I thought Se. And Jay, I have to tell you, you were wrong. It was 73%. Yeah.
Don't play with Jay's emotions like that.
I can do it with you, Joe. You're right.
Even from you, that was hard.
But yeah, 73%, no doubt. And to be fair, I'm with them. I had no doubt in my mind that my girl Mary was gonna pull through, because that's why I drafted her first.
But it was close there. It was close for a second for those first 2 weeks.
Oh God, yeah. But yeah, those are the polls.
Thank you.
Oh, that's it.
I love these. I love the polls.
I do too. Thank you to everyone who contributes to them. Again, they are on X. There are also polls on Instagram, but that is for our pre-show. So fun fact about our pre-show this upcoming week for the next episode, we are doing our pre-show live from Ron Clark Academy before the episode starts. So at 7 p.m., myself, Kara, Tori, and Randy will be on stage at Ron Clark Academy, and we will be doing the pre-show there. We're going to be keeping our polls open, I believe is the plan. So make sure you are voting along, and then we will reveal the results at the end of our experience. So that would be a lot of fun. If you are going to Ron Clark in Atlanta, let us know. Leave us a comment, and I hope to see you all there. So that again, it is sold out. So we're unfortunately unable to hand out any more tickets.
We'll be there in spirit.
Yeah. After the pre-show, we have the episode, and then following that is the after show. Then on Thursdays, you have Survivor Stock Watch, where they play with the Survivor stock market. Followed by, after that, is our Australian Survivor coverage. Next week is the finale of Australian Survivor. Chrissy, I hope to see you there. I know you're rooting for Zara and Miles. So we'll see if some of your winner picks make it. And then you join us here on Saturday for Got Something For You, of course. And again, thank you all for joining us with your time. And on Sundays is Survivor Social with Kara and Tegwith. With that, we are going to go ahead and end the stream here for today. Thank you all so much for joining us. Once again, we love seeing what you have to say in the live chat, and we will be back next week to talk about the episode.